Hi everyone, this is Tabor Cope, and this is the fourth video in a series of videos I'm doing about budgeting or personal finance. My first three videos you can get to by clicking over here. In the first video, we answer the question, what is a budget? The second video, we answer the question, why should we even keep a budget? In the third video, we talk about the envelope method, which is the method I use for budgeting. I strongly recommend that you watch these videos first before this one, because the things that we learn in here build to what we're learning in this video. Additionally, you can go to my website, taborcope.com, by clicking here, and you can see all the videos laid out there in a nice clean format. So for this video, what I would like to go over is what I'm going to call wise financial advice. Now, in general, these top three things are really important, and what might be beneficial to say up front is that you might want to meet with a certified financial planner who can go through your particular personal situation and help you know exactly what dollar amounts and in what order you want to do these things. But I'm going to talk in general. The big thing that you want to do in any financial situation is get out of debt. You need to break that cycle of being in debt and to get out of it. And we talk about that in video 2 about why we want to keep a budget. We need to avoid debt as much as we can. And by keeping a budget, and the envelope method specifically, allows you to not spend any more money than you make because you're allocating all your money into different categories and you're not overspending into your categories. The reason why I have emergency savings labeled first is usually you want to have some emergency savings even if you're in debt. So let's say about $1,000. So that way, when you have an unplanned expenditure, like the car breaking down, the refrigerator breaking or something like that, instead of having to go into more debt to get those necessities fixed, you can use your emergency savings, and that starts to break the cycle of debt that you're in. Then you need to get out of debt as best as you can. Definitely all the bad debt, like credit card debt especially, you need to get out of. So start saving and stashing as much money as you can aside and paying off your debt. Choose the lowest dollar amount first and just pay off that debt. And once that debt is paid off, take the money that you were paying to that first one and go to the next higher dollar amount debt that you have and pay that off. And just keep snowballing it until you're out of debt. Third is to pay yourself and set aside money for retirement. As evil as interest is when you're in debt and it keeps making you pay more and more money on that debt every day, it's the reverse scenario for you in retirement. The interest is in your favor. And the key is to make sure you start putting money aside for retirement early on. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking, well, I'm in my 20s or I'm in my 30s, I don't need to worry about retiring for a while. But the way interest works is it's an exponential relationship, which is kind of shown here in this graph. And that is the more time you give your money to accrue or compound that interest, then the more money you're going to have in the end. So if you can get 30 to 35 years of your retirement just accruing that interest, you're going to have a lot more retirement money to live on. So start paying yourself or setting money aside on a regular basis early on. Once you're out of debt, I want to make a note that you probably want to increase your emergency savings to about 3 to 6 months of your expenditures. That's what I have currently, and it's really comforting to know that if for whatever reason I were to get fired tomorrow and lose my job, I've got 6 months worth of cash, liquid, savings that I can pay for all my expenditures for food, gas, electricity for a while until I can find a new job. That's one note that I want to make sure I add to emergency savings, is that emergency savings needs to make sure that it's very liquid or cash. It's something that you can use at the drop of a hat. Alright, after these first three things, then we kind of move into some other general wise financial principles. For the number 4 that I've got listed here, this is kind of about flipping your mindset. Instead of going and saying, well, I'm going to need to buy a car, I'm just going to wait until this one goes out and then go into debt for it. You can start to say, well, I know that my car is going to wear out eventually. And if you don't have any debt on the car, you can kind of start thinking about paying yourself a car payment right now or setting money aside for that new car to come down the road. The nice thing is once you've reversed your mindset and you're saving up the car payment, you're paying yourself for this car payment in advance, then if you happen to have an unexpected expenditure and you use your emergency savings, you can then take your car payment for a couple months to build back up your emergency savings to 6 months. And you're not charging yourself interest, if that makes sense. So set some goals, plan for future expenditures, plan for a new car, plan for when your appliances break down. Maybe there's that dream vacation that you want to go on, or that really nice gadget that you want. Now's a great time to start setting some money aside and wait until you have that money completely set aside before you go make the purchase, so you're not going into debt for those things. Number 5 and number 6 are maybe a little more focused for couples. I really highly recommend that if you're sharing your finances with someone, that you each have an individual category or your own account, and that you put equal money in there. So my wife and I have this, and if I decide to put $40 into my individual account, I put $48 into her account as well. And the key thing is, with our individual account, we can spend that money with whatever we want. It doesn't matter. So there's some things that I'm sure my wife thinks, why did he spend money on that? Why does he need another knife? He's got plenty of knives. But I can spend the money that's in my individual account on whatever I want, and she can do the same, no questions asked. Additionally, set some money aside for a date night. I don't care how poor you are or how poor you think you are. It's really important that you set aside, $5, $10 a month, so that way you've got a little bit of money to maybe go out and see a movie once in a while, go get a dessert or something like that. Last but definitely not least is to be charitable or give back. A lot of financial experts talk about how important it is to make sure that you give back to the charities that are important to you, and that it goes a long way to having goodwill come back to you. Well, this is the end of this 4th video, and these 4 videos comprise the first part of my budgeting series. The second part is going to be covering the spreadsheet that I use to budget, and it incorporates all these principles into the spreadsheet. As I've said before, you don't have to use my spreadsheet. I don't care if you do or not, but it's a great tool that incorporates all these principles if you don't have something set aside already. Thanks for watching these videos, and if you like it, please share, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.